Welcome back to The Denial Machine, Episode 6, Going Public. Sarah woke at 5:47 a.m. to the sound of her phone buzzing incessantly. She had fallen asleep on her couch, still wearing yesterday's clothes, surrounded by legal documents that Robert Kim had left for her to review. The phone display showed 17 missed calls and 43 text messages, all from numbers she didn't recognize. The Tribune's website had crashed twice overnight from the volume of traffic to Elena's story. The Denial Machine, how MetLife systematically eliminated healthcare coverage for vulnerable populations, was being shared across social media faster than any corporate expose in recent memory. Sarah's phone rang again. This time, the caller ID showed a number she recognized, her sister Michelle in Milwaukee. "Sarah, what the hell is happening? I just saw your name in a Tribune article about insurance fraud, and there are news vans outside Mom and Dad's house in Naperville." Sarah felt her stomach drop. She had expected attention, but she hadn't considered that reporters would track down her extended family. "Michelle, I exposed some problems at MetLife. It's going to be a big story for a while." "Some problems?" "Sarah, the article says you uncovered a $2 billion conspiracy to deny medical care to sick people. CNN is calling you, the insurance industry's Karen Silkwood." Sarah walked to her living room window and carefully peered through the blinds. 3 news vans were parked on the street below, and she could see reporters setting up cameras. Her quiet life as an anonymous claims adjuster had ended forever. "Michelle, I need you to do something for me. Call Mom and Dad and tell them not to talk to any reporters. Don't let anyone into the house, don't answer questions, don't even confirm that I'm their daughter. Sarah, are you in danger?" Before Sarah could answer, her apartment building's fire alarm began blaring. She looked out the window and saw smoke coming from the building's first-floor laundry room. As residents began evacuating, she realized this could be a deliberate distraction designed to force her out of the building where reporters and photographers would be waiting. "Michelle, I have to go. There's some kind of emergency in my building." Sarah grabbed her laptop bag, the legal documents from Robert Kim, and a change of clothes. If this was a setup, she wasn't going to be caught unprepared. She took the building's back stairwell, avoiding the main lobby where reporters would be gathering to interview evacuating residents. But as she emerged from the rear exit, a man in a business suit approached her immediately. "Ms. Chen? I'm Special Agent David Morrison with the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. We need to speak with you about your allegations against Metropolitan Insurance Corporation." Sarah felt a mix of relief and apprehension. Federal involvement meant her story was being taken seriously, but it also meant she was now part of a criminal investigation that could take years to resolve. "Agent Morrison, I assume you've read the Tribune article?" "We've read the article, and we've been reviewing the documents you provided to the reporter." "Ms. Chen, we'd like you to come to our field office this morning to provide a formal statement about your discoveries at MetLife." Sarah looked back at her building, where residents were being allowed to return after what appeared to be a minor electrical fire in the laundry room. The timing felt too convenient to be coincidental. "Agent Morrison, before I agree to anything, I need to contact my attorney." "Of course." "Ms. Chen, I should tell you that we've also received communications from MetLife's legal team claiming that you unlawfully accessed and stole proprietary corporate information. We'll need to address those allegations as part of our investigation." Sarah realized she was walking into a complex legal situation where she was simultaneously a key witness in a federal investigation and a potential target of criminal charges. MetLife was trying to criminalize her whistleblowing while federal agents were trying to use her evidence to build a case against the company. "Agent Morrison, am I free to leave?" "You're not under arrest, Ms. Chen, but I strongly encourage you to cooperate with our investigation. The allegations in that Tribune article, if proven, represent one of the largest healthcare fraud schemes in American history." Sarah called Robert Kim from her car, explaining the FBI contact and the escalating media attention. Her attorney advised her to cooperate with federal investigators while being extremely careful about what she said and how she said it. At 9 a.m., Sarah met Robert Kim at the FBI's Chicago field office. The building's security was overwhelming. Metal detectors, armed guards, credentials checked multiple times before they were escorted to a conference room on the 14th floor. Special Agent Morrison was waiting with two other federal investigators and a woman who introduced herself as Assistant U.S. Attorney Jennifer Walsh. Ms. Chen, Agent Morrison began, "We appreciate your cooperation. Before we begin, I want to assure you that you are here as a witness, not as a subject of investigation. However, we do need to address MetLife's allegations about how you obtained the documents referenced in the Tribune article." Sarah looked at Robert Kim, who nodded slightly. "Agent Morrison, I obtained those documents in the course of my normal job responsibilities and through information provided by a supervisor who was concerned about systematic problems in our claims processing. Can you identify the supervisor?" Sarah hesitated, thinking about Marcus Rivera's decision to take the promotion and relocate to Phoenix. He had given her the priority protocol's evidence, but he had also made it clear that he couldn't testify or officially cooperate with investigations. For the next 3 hours, Sarah walked federal investigators through her discovery of the priority protocols, the demographic targeting algorithms, the systematic denial patterns, and the financial incentives driving MetLife's discriminatory practices. She provided copies of every document, detailed explanations of the claims processing systems, and her analysis of how the conspiracy operated. Agent Morrison took careful notes. "Ms. Chen, based on your investigation, how many patients do you estimate were affected by these systematic denials?" "Conservatively, over 10,000 people in the past 2 years. "But, Agent Morrison, the targeting wasn't random. The algorithm specifically eliminated coverage for elderly patients, chronically ill individuals, and low-income families. The people who needed healthcare coverage most were systematically driven out of the insurance system. And you believe this was intentional policy, not accidental discrimination?" Sarah pulled out the executive communications that Marcus Rivera had provided. These memos from CEO Thomas Blackwood and other senior executives make their intent very clear. They designed the priority protocols to eliminate unprofitable patient populations while maintaining plausible deniability about individual claim decisions. Assistant U.S. Attorney Walsh reviewed the executive memos, her expression growing increasingly serious. "Ms. Chen, if these documents are authentic, we're looking at potential criminal charges for healthcare fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy, and possibly civil rights violations." After the FBI interview, Sarah and Robert Kim walked to a coffee shop several blocks from the federal building. Sarah felt emotionally drained from 3 hours of detailed questioning, but also relieved that federal investigators were taking her allegations seriously. "Robert, what happens next?" "The FBI will conduct a comprehensive investigation. They'll interview MetLife employees, review financial records, analyze claim processing data, and potentially execute search warrants for additional evidence. If they find sufficient proof of criminal activity, the U.S. Attorney's Office will file charges against the executives responsible." How long does that take? Federal investigations of complex financial crimes can take years. Sarah, you need to prepare for a long legal battle. Sarah's phone buzzed with a call from Elena Vasquez. "Sarah, I've been getting calls all morning from other insurance companies' employees, people who read the story and recognize similar patterns at their own companies." "Other whistleblowers?" "Potential whistleblowers. Sarah, what you exposed at MetLife appears to be happening across the entire industry. Aetna, Cigna, Blue Cross. I'm hearing reports of systematic denial patterns that match the priority protocols model." Sarah felt overwhelmed by the implications. "Elena, are you saying this isn't just about MetLife?" "I'm saying MetLife might have been testing strategies that other companies are now implementing. Sarah, your story might have exposed industry-wide systematic discrimination in healthcare coverage." At 10 p.m., Sarah finally returned to her apartment building. The news vans were gone, but she noticed a black sedan parked across the street with 2 men sitting inside. Private investigators, probably, documenting her movements and looking for ways to discredit her. She called Jamie, who was staying with friends while the media attention was intense. "Mom, I saw you on the news. You looked really serious." "It is serious, honey. But it's also important. We're trying to help people who have been hurt by their insurance companies." "Mom, are you going to be okay?" Some of the stuff I'm reading online about MetLife sounds really scary. Sarah looked out her window at the black sedan, thinking about federal investigations and congressional hearings and the enormous corporate machine that was probably planning ways to destroy her credibility. I don't know if I'm going to be okay, Jamie, but I know that what we're doing is right, and sometimes that has to be enough. Mom, I'm proud of you. Even if it's scary, I'm proud that you're fighting for people who can't fight for themselves. After talking to Jamie, Sarah sat in her kitchen reviewing the timeline of events that had transformed her from an anonymous claims adjuster into the face of a national healthcare scandal. 3 weeks ago, she had been processing routine insurance claims, trusting that the system she worked for was designed to help people when they needed it most. Now she was a federal witness, a congressional hearing invitee, and the target of the most aggressive corporate counterattack she could imagine. Her laptop chimed with an email from Elena Vasquez. The subject line read, "Update on MetLife's response." Sarah opened the email and read Elena's summary of MetLife's official statement, released that afternoon through their crisis management firm. Metropolitan Insurance Corporation categorically denies the false and defamatory allegations published in today's Chicago Tribune. The company's claims processing procedures are fully compliant with all applicable regulations and are designed to ensure appropriate coverage for legitimate medical needs. Ms. Sarah Chen was terminated for violating company policies regarding unauthorized access to confidential information and systems. The documents referenced in the Tribune article were obtained through illegal means and do not accurately represent MetLife's business practices. The company will pursue all available legal remedies against parties who have unlawfully disclosed proprietary information. Sarah realized that MetLife was implementing a predictable strategy: deny everything, attack the whistleblower's credibility, claim the evidence was stolen, and threaten legal retaliation against anyone who shared the story. But Elena's email also included encouraging news. "Sarah, I've received over 400 emails from people whose insurance claims were denied using the priority protocol's language. We have a massive database of affected patients who are willing to share their stories. This isn't just about exposing MetLife's wrongdoing, it's about building a movement for healthcare insurance reform." Sarah closed her laptop and prepared for bed, knowing that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new attacks, and new opportunities to hold MetLife accountable for systematically denying healthcare coverage to vulnerable populations. She had crossed the point of no return when she first decided to investigate the mysterious denial patterns in Dorothy Martinez's cancer claim. Now, 3 weeks later, she was leading a national movement to reform an industry that had forgotten its fundamental obligation to protect people when they were most vulnerable. The battle was just beginning, but for the first time since discovering the priority protocols, Sarah felt like she might actually win. Thank you for listening to Episode 6 of The Denial Machine. Please find Episode 7 in the description below.